guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have the 120 Brutfuner oil colored pencils. I think that's how you say it. There has been a ton of talk about these things all over the coloring community and a few videos, and I had purchased the larger set a long time ago. Now the larger set is a round barrel and it's not color dipped or anything, and I didn't like them. And then they had this 120 set, which is a square shaped pencil, and they are two different things. So it's really important to keep in mind I am doing my first impressions of just the 120 oil based pencils, not the bigger set that is a lot different from this one. So when you get them, they are plastic wrapped like we have here. And it's very loud. Alright, if I can get it out of there. Alright. So then it looks like we have a tin with a little paper wrap here. So you have the artwork, the 120 Brutfuner oil colored pencils. Ugh, that's a tough one. On the back, looks like we just have it in different languages. So if you find the one for UK, that's about the one I can read. It just says, blendable pencils are the perfect coloring solution. Rich, vibrant pigments and expertly balanced shades provide superior blending. Whether you're a beginner, a hobbyist, or a professional artist, these premium pencils, it's like hyphenated. Is that a UK spelling thing? These premium pencils are ideal for all your creative work, from quick sketches to intricate details. So yeah. Now, these are very confusing because there's a ton of different brands out there, and if you search on Amazon for this, you will get different pencils. So it is really critical, if you do want to buy these, use my link and I will take you to the correct ones. There's a lot of brands saying that they are the 120 Brutfuner pencils, and they're not it. So keep in mind, this is the one I'm talking about. Alright, so is there an easy way to get this sleeve off? Will it slide right off? Nope, it's stuck on there with something. So we're just gonna have to tear it off. Oh, this does not want to come off, does it? Alright, we're just gonna rip it. For goodness sake. Okay, that wasn't a pain at all. First impressions, packaging, kind of a pain. Alright, so it is a matte black tin. It feels kind of like lifted. And now that I'm looking at the tin, there is a slight dent right here. So it looks like it is secured. Yeah, and it's even dented over here too. I wonder if I can get that on camera. See the dent? So it did take some damage. It was bubble wrapped when it came from Amazon, but let's see if the pencils were damaged. So we have a good foam padding. Oh, I forgot to do my one test that I always like to do. Wow, with this thing bent, it's really hard to close. Definitely if I'm gonna keep these, they're gonna go in a pencil case, but this is what I like to do to test packaging. Shake it. Okay, you actually don't hear anything moving. Now I'll wait for my camera to get back in there. Okay. So, that's good. That means we didn't hear it rattling around. So this little foam thing did its job. Alright, so we open. It does give you a swatch chart, which is always nice, but it is It's a little thicker than printer paper, so it's not too bad. And you know, it's kind of handy because you can slip it in here. Whoa! I am missing a pencil. Well, that's interesting. So, anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. I already have my own color chart, but I might not even be able to swatch these right away because am I missing a pencil? A couple pencils? So let's see. Because now it looks like there's missing a pencil on this tray too. Let's see if the other tray is that way. And then this tray. Okay, so this tray is not missing any. So yeah, I mean, browns, grays, pinks, purples, blues. Let's see, are these in numerical order? No, they're not. Let's see, so that's 008, 052. And what sucks is on the packaging, there's nothing about the colors. But yeah, I am definitely missing a pencil here. Well, maybe not. Oh wait, if you slide them out, they all swap in. Okay, let's see if the other tray does that. Talk about confusing. Okay, so maybe we're not missing a pencil. We'll find out when we swatch them. So anyways, good selection of colors. These are very cheap, flimsy trays, and because my case is bent here, it did take some damage on the edge here of this plastic, so that's not good. But it's just like these little, almost like a hair tie, and these things are super bendy. Look at that. And like I said, apparently the way they have these set up, it can confuse you and make it look like one is missing. That's kind of interesting, huh? And then we have this tray, which also took some damage, so it's also bent exactly where my case was bent. And then we have our last tray. Now, with these pencils, they are a square barrel, no color dipped end, but the core seems to be pretty on center. These are very light, very light. Okay, so on the pencil, it just has in silver. Let me pick out one that you can actually see it on. Okay, let's try this one. Alright, so you see there, you've got the name and like a, actually it's gold, not silver. Then on the other end, you just have a color number and some, oh, come on, camera. Some writing in Japanese, but, or that could be Chinese. I'm doing a first impressions, not a review, guys. I'll do a review later and research these. But already I can tell you the packaging is, well, crap. And I'm going to have to swatch these out. They look like they're pretty much in a good color order. So I'll probably be able to swatch them in the order that they have arrived in. And then I might have to adjust them because like I said, there's no color numbers. Oh, these won't even go back in because they're so warped. There's just color, or there's no color names, there's just numbers. And none of the paperwork, like this isn't filled out for me. And nowhere on the back of the tin or any of the papers or the paper sleeve does it have like, you know, them in order, like with Castle Art. It has them in the tin, like Artiso will have it up here in the tin. So we'll see what kind of order we get after I sharpen all of these, because they do have quite a blunt edge. Nothing wrong with that, it's just manufacturing. That's not a bad thing. A lot come with a blunt edge because if they ship them with a super pointy end, they end up breaking anyways. But yeah, so far off to a rocky start. My first impressions. But I am going to use my usual chart from Mystic Sparkle Wings. I'm going to go sharpen all of these, write down the numbers because that's all we have to do, and I'm going to go in the order they came, and then I will come back and swatch them on camera with you, and maybe we can hopefully recover from the not so great first impression of opening these. I can tell you right now, these trays don't even fit back in, they bend, so definitely something you would want to have a backup plan for and not keep them in this case. All right, so I'm gonna go sharpen these. I can't even close my broken tin. There we go. I'm gonna go sharpen these, get my sheet together, and then we'll dive in. Okay, so we have everything sharpened and ready to go. Like I said, I am using my usual chart from Mystic Sparkle Wings. You can find her on DeviantArt. She has options for like numbers and names or no numbers. I did the no numbers one and then just used the numbers where the name would go because these don't have color names. Again, you can use the one it comes with, but well, seems kind of weird, and they even have it start up here for some reason. Interesting. I'm using my own. Alright, so this is not a review, but this is first impressions. I did have some issues sharpening, not with breakage, but I did use my Doll 133. These wouldn't fit in my battery sharpener, so that's one thing to note. But they do fit in the Doll 133, and they probably would fit in my electric sharpener if I wanted to try, because it has different sizes. It was just barely too big for my battery operated one. And the reason I was going to use my battery one is these were only like $30 something. So I'm like, didn't care. So, you know, using a hand crank sharpener was kind of painful. However, I did notice some of them with the wood would splinter, others did not. It's not my sharpener, it is definitely the wood of this pencil. And these things are like feather light. So they're definitely not a thick, high quality wood by any means, but I mean, we're talking a budget pencil. I'm not comparing these to Prismacolor or anything like that. While I'm swatching them, I am kind of comparing these to Castle Art. Well, actually no, these are oil-based, so I'm going to compare them to Shapir Farben, because that is another oil-based budget pencil. So that's who we'll compare this one to. Alright, let me get the first tray out. I did notice some defects on a few of these too, like the wood or paint would be like kind of bubbled up somewhere and whatnot. Most of the cores were on center, but really I want to see how these feel on paper. I'm using my favorite type of paper, and how vibrant the pigments are and all that. So let's just dive in. Again, I did not have any breakage while sharpening, so that was good. These are very smooth. Now see, I was already going into this with a negative mindset because one, the packaging was damaged. Let me get my brush out. They're dusty, but so are Shapir Farben. I guess I'll fill in the whole square. It'll just take a little longer, but it looks better. Yeah, these aren't too scratchy. The Shapir Farben ones aren't scratchy either, though. And again, yellow, orange, and red tend to not be too scratchy on most pencil brands, and then it's when you start getting into the other colors. So you have to make sure the color number lines up. I wonder if I can get you guys a little bit closer so you can kind of see. There we go. I am using heavy pressure, and then I'm just lifting as I go. Okay. And I just used the order that they came in the tin because there was no order on any of the packaging. And I guess I could have looked online to see if they had one, but that one's pretty smooth. Those reds are pretty close to one another though. I'm not sure how well the camera is picking it up, but one is a little bit more pinkish. So they look close, but they're not exact. This one's not bad. Yeah, this one's pretty soft too. So you're probably wondering why I bought these, and it's because they've become like this big hype all of a sudden. And like I said, I had the bigger set with the round barrels, and I did not like them. I was not impressed with those. I actually got rid of them. So then I started seeing everyone like raving about this 120 square shaped set. So I did some research, and most of the reviews I had seen, and you know, through asking other colorists who have used them, have used both. These were different in both like quality and feel on the paper compared to the larger set. So again, the square set is definitely different, and I can tell the difference already myself just swatching these few than the round set. The round set was scratchy and, well, crap. So hence why I got rid of them. But yeah, everyone has been just all over these lately, so I was like, okay, I want to, you know, see what's going on with these things. And again, there's a lot of confusion on Amazon about what is what. I even saw someone call these South Sun pencils, but these aren't the South Sun pencils, guys. That's something totally different. These square 120 Brutfuner, or however you say it, are something on their own. So it's really important to get the brands correct. That said, there is kind of a little discrepancy with their round ones, because their round ones do appear a lot like some of the other cheap brands. The square ones, not so much. So I don't know on that angle if that's where the, you know, they're getting confused for South Sun pencils. But the South Sun ones I've seen with 3 different names, but the packaging always comes with the name South Sun on it. But again, those aren't these, so I'm not sure why some people are confusing the two. I do not have the South Sun. I was thinking of trying those out, but from what I've seen, they're kind of like the larger set of this brand. They're definitely cheap and scratchy, so I never got them. And then I was kind of intrigued because everyone was giving these ones just amazing reviews, saying that they were super fun to work with. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try them for myself. So this is just my swatching and first impressions. I'm definitely gonna do a full review of them and kind of go from there. What's interesting is I bought the Shapir Farbin ones, and I had low expectations for those. They are more expensive than these ones here, that's for sure, but they were a budget-based oil pencil, and I was just like, a budget oil pencil, how good can it be, right? But I actually am very impressed with the Shapir Farbin pencils. I hope that they come out with a bigger set. I do feel like sometimes they're lacking here and there on a few colors, but I might, if these pencils turn out to work well, I might be able to supplement using this set where the Shapir Farbin is missing colors. And so far there's still, I don't have anything scratchy on these yet. Oop, this one might be, no, it's just something on my paper. I am noticing a lot of these colors are really close to one another. So that does kind of concern me a little bit. But again, I'll wait till I get the whole set swatched. Kind of go from there. But like, see these two oranges here, those look pretty close. Well, I'll zoom out after they're all done and kind of decide after. It would be nice if they had color names. I already had one gripe, it would be the fact that there's no names and they're just these numbers. And they're all in very random order. Like, it makes 0 sense. Like, so you go from 004 to 91 to 50. So like, basically I'm gonna have to swatch these and then maybe go back and put them in color order if they don't end up being in a good color order when I'm done. But we'll see. Like I said, they are dusty, but it's similar to Shapir Farben, so I'm not going to hold that against them too much. Polychromos, ooh, there we go, I got a breakage. Polychromos aren't dusty, but then again, that's a high-end oil-based pencil and kind of just shows their manufacturing quality and whatever they use to bind it. But yeah, these are dusty, but not like super dusty. They're very smooth, but see, these two yellows are really close too. So we'll see. Alright, I'm getting into the yellows. So already we only have 3 reds, well, 4th red that's randomly thrown in the middle of the oranges. But these are kind of this is kind of a pinkish one. So we'll see, make sure I have the right number. And these could end up like Shapir Farben. Like, when they first came out, they were just numbers and they added the names later. And by the time I got them, they already had the names. So a lot of people with the first sets of Shapir Farben just have numbers. And these square ones have not been out that long, so they may make some changes. Yeah, in this case, I just wanted to see why everyone is all over these things lately. And so far they are good. You know, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on pencils either. Like, I know Prismacolor, Faber-Castell, all the Derwents, they're great. They are, you know, higher priced and you get higher quality, but that doesn't mean you can't use a budget pencil and do something similar. It's just a matter of preference. I mean, I will always like my Prismacolors the best, but that doesn't mean I'm not open to trying budget pencils. So, and I'll use a budget pencil. I mean, one thing is I can use my electric sharpener and not cringe, and so I save myself from having to use my hand crank sharpener because it's like, oh, 30 bucks. But the drawback is these budget brands don't have open stock. So like, if there's one color you use a lot of, you're gonna have to rebuy the whole set. And that is going to be a drawback with this one, because these square ones, I believe, only come in the 120, so you would have to buy the whole 120 set to replace a single color. So that can get pricey. But if you are using that entire set all the time, it won't be as bad. So I mean, that's kind of one of the hiccups you get with the budget pencils, is you don't have open stock. So it can get more expensive to replace them, especially if you don't go through them all equally. Is that the right number? Because I mean, like right now, you know, I've run out of a Prismacolor. I just kind of set them off to the side on my craft desk and I order a bunch of open stock at once. But these budget brands, you have to go buy whatever, like maybe they have a smaller set with that particular color in it, or in this case, with this brand, you'd have to buy 120 pencils. So unless you're going to use it a ton, it might not be worth the savings. Yeah, so far these are very smooth. I'm not having any problems with anything being scratchy, which is usually what happens with the budget pencils. They tend to be very scratchy. The pigments, though, so far are kind of muted, but that's why I want to wait until I swatch all of them, because these are lighter colors. I want to see how like all their greens develop. All right, 0, 4, 5. I will say the numbers on these are so hard to read. Oh, that one's falling apart. Now, if you're not like the heavy-handed type like I am, you might not get any breakage. These are holding up pretty well to me, pressing really hard right here and then lightening up. Let's see. Get another one. There's something like embedded in my paper. So yeah, if you're more the layering type, you might not even have the dust that I'm getting. But I'll be honest, these are smoother than my experience with Pablo's. So I had a very bad experience with Pablo's, and I'm afraid to try them again, even though I've had quite a few people say, no, I think you had a bad batch. Like, a bad batch of a $200 set of pencils? That's pretty bumming. But I'm just not willing to try it. So here is an example. Let me see if my camera will focus in on it. There you go. See how the wood is? This isn't from my sharpener, this is the construction of the pencil. So again, I mean, it is a budget pencil. Who knows what kind of wood they even used in these things. And I mean, these are very lightweight pencils, so the wood is very thin. Kind of like with Castle Art, you know, the wood is pretty thin, it can splinter. Like when my Chagall blade starts to get dull, it splinters really bad on my Castle Arts. My doll I haven't had any issues with, but sometimes I like to use my Chagall sharpener, like if I'm taking it somewhere or I just don't feel like using a hand crank sharpener, because it was pretty rough sharpening 120 pencils all with a hand crank. Like I said, I wanted to use my battery one just because these are budget and I don't care if I waste a little bit of extra lead. Now if I'm like doing any of my more expensive ones, then yeah, I'll take the time and deal with the hand cramps. But these wouldn't fit. Now if you have like Felissimo Tokyo Seeds, these are way thinner than those. Those are square, but they are a thick square pencil. These are way thinner and way lighter than those Felissimos. But I can't compare quality to the Felissimo in terms of the actual pencil, like pigment and stuff, because Felissimo is a wax-based pencil. And they don't advertise themselves as a budget pencil, but they are pretty cheap. It's just the shipping to the US is where it gets expensive. Might even do a side-by-side comparison after I finish up a review of these, comparing them to the Shapir Farben. That might be fun. Because you kind of, when you're, you know, reviewing these budget pencils, you need to compare them against other budget pencils. I mean, you can say, you know, how close they are to an expensive artist grade pencil, but in all fairness, you know, a polychromo is a polychromo. It's not like a budget pencil is going to come close to that. 77. It's a pretty good looking green. Yep, so far they're still smooth though. That's a good sign. Like I said, I mean, I bought very expensive Pablo pencils that were scratchier, so I never even finished swatching my Pablos. I actually got about halfway down the page and decided that there was no way I was going to keep going, and I returned them. Yeah, this has the same thing. The lead is very loose inside of them, but I'm not feeling it wiggle as I am swatching. So the wood is kind of cracking around them, but it's not, the lead itself isn't like just sitting there wiggling. You know, kind of like if you break the tip of your Prisma, how it'll wiggle inside the wood. It's not doing that. It's holding up to my heavy pressure here. So yeah, we're not having that issue. Let's see. That's a dark one. Okay, this one's a little scratchy, but that doesn't surprise me because darker colors tend to be, is where you find like a scratchier lead. And that one's also very dusty. Even then, the color is pretty good. And it's not super scratchy. It's not leaving lines on my paper, so that's good. Pretty like green for shrubbery and leaves. I like the more olivey moss colored greens myself. Not too bad. .43. Hopefully my camera's not doing the focusing in on my hand thing again. Yeah, see, these ones are definitely scratchier. But you know, I have a couple Prismacolors that are scratchy. It's only certain colors though. Now I will say none of my Polychromos are scratchy. I have yet to come across one that is. I have Holbeins that are, but I personally think Holbeins are way too much hype. I am using them more though, just to try and, I don't know, get a better feel for it. I didn't use them as much because you couldn't get open stock in the US and I didn't want to hassle. But they are ridiculously priced in the US right now, and I think it's just because they're new, like Blick Arts and all them have it now. But I would not pay that. was like 400 something for the set. And I got mine cheaper on eBay before they were available out here. There are a ton of greens in this set though, like a ton. This would be good for Johanna Basford stuff. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do a test page in like World of Flowers or something. I think her new book is coming out soon. I have it pre-ordered. I have 3 books on pre-order. Got the new Kirby Roseanne's one, which I'm actually excited to do because it's not like all of his other ones where it's, you know, got all those hidden objects type of thing. And then I have the Maria Troll one, and then I have Johanna Basford's new one. And yes, I know you can get them sooner, like from Book Depository or whatever it's called, but I just pre-order them on Amazon, and they can show up when they show up. Does that mean I get it like a month or 2 later than everyone else? Yes, but it's no biggie. I think this is the last green, and then we're gonna go into more of the teal greens. Hope if I stay in the lines, but I will. Normally I'm kind of more hunched over, but I can't because I have a camera in the way. I think this one's going to be more tealish, but it's hard to say just by looking at the paint of the barrel. Ooh, this one's very scratchy though. And dusty. It's not too bad. And I think what I'll do is I'll swatch just this one tray on camera here with you guys, because this is 120 pencils. We'll be here a while. And then I'll swatch the rest off camera and then kind of come back and talk about the colors and what I think. Oh, no, we're not getting into the teal ones yet. Still got some more normal greens. But yeah, I think that'll be best just because otherwise you guys will sit here for well over an hour just watching me swatch. Because I think I've almost been swatching for a half hour on one tray. Definitely not even close to the barrel colors, just FYI. Most pencils aren't though. You should always swatch them, never rely on the barrel. Again, I'm doing heavy to light pressure, basically barely grazing the paper. These last few greens are getting dusty, but it looks like we're finally getting into the teal colors now. Not bad though, not bad. Let's brush those away. Looks like I got about 5 more on this tray. So there's 3 trays. That means there's 100. There's 40 pencils per tray. If I keep these, I'll end up having something to finally put in the pencil case I bought a few months ago. There was like a sale and it was a lightning deal for like 16 bucks. And it was one of the brands I like, so I snagged it and I have yet to find pencils to fill it with. I was like, oh, I know there will be a pencil that'll come out eventually. So this might be the one that fills it. This one's super scratchy no matter which angle I go at. The reason I like to do these like first impression and swatching videos before I do the review is just, one, you get an idea of what it's like to swatch them out, you know, and how the pencil performs. And then two, it kind of just helps set it up. That way I'm not doing everything in the same video. Because then I can spend some time with them after the fact, and then I bring my review out later. Gives me time to work with them, but the first impressions is helpful. I like to watch them just because I like to see the swatches and see how they are while being swatched out, you know. It's a pretty mint green color. I wish these had names. They could make some really pretty names for these. And I didn't even check yet to see if I have any duplicate numbers. Because like I said, the order is so random. It's like, how did you even make sure all of these are in there? But so far, they're pretty close to color order. Not exactly, though. But I mean, you've got all of your olivey ones up here. So it's pretty close. It's really hard to get them out of the ends of the trays. That's a pretty pastelish one. This is another one where you can see the wood. So come on, camera, focus. Maybe. It won't focus right now, but during my review I'll show you guys. But just like I showed you on that other one, you can see where the wood is starting to separate. And that's definitely not my sharpener, that's just manufacturing quality. Alright. That's a pretty color too. So, just lift you up a little. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to swatch the rest of these off camera because look, we've got quite a few to do. And I've got so 80 left. So it'll be a while. But I'll swatch the rest and then I will come back and tell you guys what I think and kind of go over the colors, and then we will wrap it all up, and then yes, I will do a review. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have swatched all 120, and throughout the swatching process I didn't have any that were scratchy. I had a couple break when I pressed hard. That doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. I mean, a Prismacolor breaks if you press it too hard. Normally oil-based pencils are harder leads, like when I press hard with a Polychromos it doesn't break. But again, I'm not comparing these to Polychromos. Polychromos are an artist's professional grade pencil. These are a budget-based pencil. So comparing them to another budget-based like Shapir Farben, they were about the same on breakage. And then for me, that's not a deal breaker because I'm a heavy-handed colorist, and that's just kind of something you have to accept if you press heavily. That said, nothing was scratchy, so that was good. I mean, I had the occasional little scratchy part, but if I twisted the pencil, it went away, or if I sharpened it, so it wasn't the whole lead. And then the colors, I had to swatch them in the way they were arranged in the packaging because there was no included chart on the tin or anything showing me color order. So that was interesting. So at the beginning, they seemed to be in color order. You know, we got a red, orange, yellow, then we go in our to green, blue, and then our purples and violets. But then as you see here, we start coming back down to more reds, and then we dive into our pinks, and then we got like this random hot pink here, and then we have like some light peach and skin tone colors, and a cream color that's sitting here. And then we have a dark gray and a black, and then it jumps into purples and kind of a almost like a parrot green color. And then we have our grays, and the grays are all over the place. Like, so they're not in order by warm or cool or anything, because you can see here. So that, I mean, I would definitely have to put these back in order, because then we have some of these warm grays, and then another beige, and then we're back to gray, and then white, and then this last set is all over the place. So when you're looking at the pencils themselves, the barrels, I thought this whole last bit were all browns, but after I swatched them, they definitely weren't. I mean, we've got a golden yellow here, kind of a yellow green color here. This is more of a yellow brown, so it could stay in this category. But I mean, this color right here is more red than anything. But as you can see, their browns kind of skip all over. And then we have a chunk of reds and purples mixed in there, and then we go back to brown. Now, I don't know if maybe a while back they had a smaller set, because like Shapir Farben, for example, when I bought their biggest set, which is only 96 pencils, the last tray was completely out of order. But that was because the last tray was their add-on. So they had a smaller set, which was the 72, and that last tray had the 24 new ones. So that's why they were all out of order. So I don't know if that's what happened here, but as of right now, there isn't a smaller set of these square oil-based pencils. So this could just be kind of like Castle Art. When you get Castle Art, they don't come in order whatsoever. They are thrown haphazardly in that thing, and you end up having to put them in the order, but at least on their tin, they tell you what order it goes in. They don't come in the order, but at least they have an order listed on the tin. This brand does not. So as you can see here, like with these reds and purples mingling in, I'm gonna have to redo my chart and get everything into color order because we've got randos all over. That said, there is a pretty good selection of grays for a 120 set. They have a lot of cool grays. They do have a good selection of warm grays and almost kind of like the French gray color tone you get from Prismacolor. Purples, at first, when I was swatching up here, I was thinking, gosh, they don't have a dark purple, but then it reappeared after black. So that was good. They even have kind of like a more mauve colors down here. With the browns, at first I thought they were going to have a ton of browns because like I said, that last tray looked like they were all brown. But in reality, it wasn't as many. So, I mean, really you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish browns. Some of these orangier browns you could count too, but I honestly would stick this with my orange. And this one here, I know on camera it looks like a dark brown, but it actually is very purple-ish, and it just doesn't show up as much on camera. So one thing is, this is the darkest brown we have. I mean, we've got this one too, but there's not a ton of variety. But I can still work with these. It might require some layering, but I still see some color combos. They do have a great selection for skin tones, which is awesome. They do have a ton of reds. I mean, you've got the reds up here, you got some here, you got some here. Like I said, I'm gonna have to redo this because it gets confusing when you're bouncing all over. This rando, like tealish color should be somewhere up here. We do have tons of purples. You can even include these two here in your purples if you wanted. So you do have a lot more purples. They've got like this random purplish gray color, which needs to come down here. Pinks, we got plenty of pinks. So we have these pinks here, and then the pinks start blending out all the way through here. But greens are great too. We've got an excellent selection. I would say some are a little close to one another. Like I said, when I initially swatched, some of these reds were pretty close. They just slightly vary. These two are incredibly close to one another. Honestly, it's hard to tell the difference to my eye. Everyone's eye is different, but I'm having a hard time seeing what's different there. Same thing with these two. This is just barely like has a bit more green, and that's it. And then let's see, same thing with these reds. So we have these reds here and these ones that are all kind of close. So I think they could have maybe done better with their colors, maybe swapped out some of these that are closer. For all I know, this is a printing error. I did have that happen with Castle Art, where I had the color swatched out differently, but it was labeled the same as another. So that could be the issue here. Who knows? It's hard to say with these budget ones. But the color selection overall as well, the pencils were very smooth on this paper. So my first impressions, you know, I had some issues with how it was damaged and how it's packaged and how cheap the pencils feel, even while sharpening, but swatching them, I am a little more optimistic. They were very smooth. I could tell they would layer really well. So I'm definitely going to keep them and do a review, you know, because other times I'll swatch them and go, you know, guys, I couldn't even get past swatching. These I'm actually going to color a few pictures with, so you'll see a review in the, you know, a couple weeks after I've had some time to play with them. But if you guys have this 120 set, remember it's the 120 square. I'm not talking about the round barrels. Those are totally different. So if you have these, let me know your thoughts. Let me know also if you had the same thing with colors that are very close, and if yours came in this random order. I'm kind of curious if that's a constant thing or just a batch problem. So I always like to get feedback from others who have bought them. But yeah, guys, expect a review very soon. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to try them. They were like 33-ish on Amazon, but they had a coupon at the time for 10% off. So I used that and I got them a little cheaper. But either way, 120 pencils for 33 bucks. These are cheaper than the Shapir Farben. Shapir Farben have come down quite a bit in price since I had bought them a while ago, but so far I'm thinking these are cheaper. So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you have these in the comments below, and keep an eye out for a review coming very soon. So until next time, guys, take care.